Welcome back to Winning Isn't Easy. I'm going to take some of our listeners' questions. The first question is, well, should I try and apply for my long-term disability benefits without speaking to an attorney? Well, obviously you would expect that I'm going to say no, and you're right. I don't think so. Because as we've explained in all of these episodes, you really need to understand what your insurance plan or policy has to say and what it is you have to prove. You need to understand what's in your medical records and whether your physician is going to support your claim. You need to understand what your gross benefits are and whether there's going to be any offsets for your um, Social Security benefits or workers' comp cases or any other benefit that they could use to reduce your benefits. You really need to understand what your policy is and what your burden of proof is before you stop working and apply for benefits. Lawyers such as myself offer a 30-minute complimentary consultation to help people with these issues. And one of the things I always ask for is let's talk about, get me a copy of your plan or policy so we all understand what the playing field is. And that leads me to the second question is, well, what if I don't have a copy of my insurance policy? You can ask your employer for a copy of the policy in what's called a summary plan description. Now, sometimes you can actually just get it off of your employer's website. But if you ask and you don't get it, what do you need to do? Definitely at that point, you need to consult with an experienced attorney such as myself, because under the ERISA statute, we can ask the employer to send us that information. And if they don't, ultimately, after a number of attempts, I normally do 3, we can file a lawsuit in federal court asking that the court order your employer to provide us with that information. And if they don't, we can rack up a $110 a day penalty that they have to pay. Plus, they have to pay an attorney's fee. Now, you might say, well, why do I want to do that? I don't want to jeopardize my relationship with my employer. Well, if your employer isn't going to give you that information that you need to get the benefits that you deserve, there's already an adversarial relationship. And so my answer is nuts to them. You need to consult with an attorney to get that insurance policy or plan. All right, the last question we have is, what if the insurance company denies my claim and I'm terminated from my job? Do I still have coverage? Well, that's a bit of a tricky question. If you have filed your short or long-term disability claim and it's been denied, you have 180 days in which to file an appeal. And you definitely should be filing an appeal in that time frame. If if your employer denies you that you're an employee, they terminate you, they get rid of you, your coverage is going to end the effective date of that termination. And I've had cases like this. And so we have to prove is that you were disabled, certainly as the date you claimed that you were disabled, and appeal that decision, or try to claim that you were disabled through the date of the termination. And the specific facts of each case are different. But you do need to understand that your coverage is going to end upon termination. Now, that can be a particular problem, as I've mentioned in the past, because some policies will have provisions that will allow you to attempt a return to work. If you are attempting that return to work and you go back to work and you don't meet the standards for disability, but you get terminated, then your insurance coverage is ended. And the carrier is going to say, look, you were working full time, no loss of income. You weren't working while you were disabled. You weren't disabled, period, and you don't qualify because you don't meet the definition of disability. So attempting to go back to work can be as problematic as a claims denial. And again, I think that it requires coordination and advice of an experienced ERISA disability attorney, such as myself. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. If you like this podcast, would you please like our page, leave a review, or share it with your friends and family. Remember, our podcast is weekly, so stay tuned for next week's episode, and I hope that you're enjoying the show. Winning isn't easy.